Good evening. Welcome to Meetings with Our Community.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Please. All over New York City, in the eyes of a single mother in Coney Island, working 2 jobs and barely scraping together enough for a modest apartment to share with her kids. You can see it in the worn hands of a fast food worker in Washington Heights, consumed with worry as the calendar approaches the first of the month when the rent is due. You can see it in the furrowed brow of a senior in Rosebank in Staten Island as she sweeps her porch to chase away thoughts of whether she's saved enough to stay in her small house in the only neighborhood she's ever called home. If we do not act, and act boldly, New York risks taking on the qualities of a gated community, a place defined by exclusivity rather than opportunity. And we cannot let that happen. We will not let that happen. Over the past 2 years, I've spoken about the need to take dead aim at the tale of 2 cities and about our vision for creating one New York, rising together, a city where everyone has a shot at the middle class. And while we have so much more work to do, we should take heart from what was achieved in 2014. 2014 was a year of great progress in our effort to address inequality and lift up all our families. Let me give you some examples. We achieved full-day pre-K for more than 50,000 of our kids. And there's more to come in 2015. We nearly doubled enrollment in after-school programs for middle school kids in all 5 boroughs. By executive order, we expanded living wage coverage to 18,000 more workers. With the help of the City Council and the very strong and forceful leadership of my partner in government, Speaker Melissa Mark-Viverito, we secured paid sick leave for 500,000 more New Yorkers. We ended the overuse of stop and frisk, reducing stops by over 75%. And since we instituted our new marijuana policy just months ago, arrests are down almost 65%. Our NYPD officers helped bring the city's crime rate to an all-time low, with the smallest number of murders, robberies, and burglaries in our history. At the FDNY, they responded to a record 1.6 million emergency calls, always at the ready when New Yorkers need help. And let's thank everyone at the Correction Department. They made sweeping reforms last year, including an end to punitive segregation for adolescents in city jails. Also in 2014, we fought to keep our streets safe and clear and clean for pedestrians, cyclists, and drivers alike. We established Vision Zero, bringing pedestrian deaths to a level not seen since 1910. We created ID NYC, and it's available, as I think people know by now, it's available to all, citizens and undocumented New Yorkers alike. And let me be clear how important this is as a statement of the values of this city. This city built on the toil of immigrants for generations. We, as New Yorkers, will never relegate any of our fellow New Yorkers to the shadows. We will not allow it. And ladies and gentlemen, the people have responded to the new opportunity created by ID NYC, a bit more than we expected, I might add. I'm happy to report that less than a month after this program's inception, more than 180,000 New Yorkers have already made an appointment to get their ID. And we began a major new effort, and this one has very far-reaching implications, and it's a tough subject that needs a lot more attention, and it's about to get it. We began a new effort, led by our inspiring First Lady, to address the gaps in mental health coverage in New York City. This issue is personal. It's personal for all of us. It's personal to Shirlane and me. And I have talked to so many people who understand why we have to take this on, why we have to talk out loud and strive to address an issue that for too long was swept under the rug. So many families have watched as their loved ones fell through the cracks of an inadequate system. We have to change that, and I can't think of a smarter, stronger, more compassionate person to lead our effort for change than our First Lady. Let's thank her. In 2014, we opened new doors of opportunity for our young people. We've begun to create 128 community schools, schools that serve the whole child, offering everything from vision tests and mental health screenings to family counseling and tutoring. We created 62 PROS schools. It's a fresh, new model where teachers and principals work together to set aside DOE and union rules alike, rules that sometimes hinder innovation. And in this new approach, we can better serve our kids.
I'm a New Yorker, and this is my card.
I use it to visit my son's school.
To get cheap movie tickets.
To get museum memberships.
To open my first checking account. To get discounts with the Parks Department.
ID NYC is the photo ID for all New Yorkers, regardless of immigration status. If you live in New York City, go get one. It's free, it's easy, and it's available now.
8 million New Yorkers, one card for all of us.
Mercedes-Benz Fashion Week returns to Lincoln Center's Damrosch Park this month, showcasing fashions for the fall 2015 season. Hundreds of thousands of industry insiders will descend upon the city for 8 days of shows and presentations by some of the world's most sought-after designers.
I would like you to give me an advice for all the models up there, so they can, they can be right here one day.
I think that the most important thing to you girls is to be secure about who you are, what are your pluses, what are your maybe things that you can improve. I think that you must have passion in everything that you want to be, that you want to accomplish, hard work, and I guarantee you that you can accomplish whatever you want. Just be secure, have passion, and be a hardworking woman.
El diseñador que te diseñó es espectacular vestido.
Sí.
¿Qué más te diseñó aparte?
Bueno, él se llama Alfredo Barraza, es una persona con la que he trabajado muchísimo, es alguien muy profesional, lo quiero muchísimo, él me acompañó, es una persona muy allegada a mí, que lo tengo en mi corazón, me apoyó desde el principio y es alguien espectacular, excepcional y con un talento increíble, increíble y siempre me deja sorprendida con todos los diseños.
Hey, I'm John Leguizamo, and I love New York. Why? I'll tell you why, because every winter, my favorite thing to do is ski upstate. In New York, you can ski more and drive less. With over 50 ski resorts throughout the state, great skiing is always nearby. And with some of the highest snowfall in the U.S., it's always a perfect day on the slopes. Day or night, green circle or black diamond, for the experts like me, there's something for everyone. So plan your next New York ski trip at iloveny.com/winter.
Finally, on a happier note, a bit of good news. On September 24th, His Holiness, Pope Francis, will visit us here at the United States Capitol. That day, His Holiness will be the first Pope in our history to address a joint session of Congress. We're humbled that the Holy Father has accepted our invitation and certainly look forward to receiving his message on behalf of the American people.
Healthcare.gov allowed me to be able to continue on with my own life.
Go, sign up, and you have health insurance.
I qualify for financial assistance, and it's a huge weight off my chest.
With Healthcare.gov, I have options to specialists, primary care physicians, and dental.
And so I went online, I found the plan that was for me, and it's been excellent ever since.
No matter who you are, Healthcare.gov is there for you.
Join the millions making their lives better and more secure with health insurance through Healthcare.gov. Most are eligible for financial assistance. The deadline to enroll is February 15th, so sign up today.
Well, I've just had a chance to meet with these 6 wonderful young people who represent the very best that this country has to offer. What sets them apart is that they all came here, were brought here by their parents, and up until recently have had a very difficult situation because of their immigration status. The stories you hear from these young people are parents who aspired for a better life for their children. These folks coming here at the age of 4 months, or 7 months, or 9-year-olds, or 10-year-olds, oftentimes not realizing that their status was any different than their classmates and their friends and their neighbors. In some cases, they didn't discover until they were about to go to college that there was a difference that might prevent them from giving back to their community and their country. And because of the executive actions that we took with respect to DREAM Act kids, and because of the executive actions that I announced late last year with respect to many of their parents, what I've heard is lives transformed. Young people who didn't think it would be possible for themselves to go to college suddenly are going to college. Young people who didn't think it might be possible to start a business suddenly find themselves in a position to look at starting a business. Young people who have memories of their mothers weeping because they couldn't go to the funeral of their parent, now seeing the prospect, the hope that their lives can stabilize and normalize in some way. I don't think there's anybody in America who had a chance to talk to these 6 young people or the young dreamers all across the country who wouldn't find it in their heart to say, these kids are American just like us, and they belong here, and we want to do right by them. And so often in this immigration debate, it's an abstraction. And we don't really think about the human consequences of our positions. And part of the reason that I wanted to hear from these young people today, and part of the reason why I've heard from young dreamers in the past, is because it's a constant reminder to me of why this is important. Now, the House of Representatives recently passed a bill that would have these 6 young people deported. I think that's wrong. And I think most Americans would think it was wrong if they had a chance to meet these young people. And legislation is going to be going to the Senate that again tries to block these executive actions. I want to be as clear as possible. I will veto any legislation that got to my desk that took away the chance of these young people who grew up here and who are prepared to contribute to this country that would prevent them from doing so. And I am confident that I can uphold that veto. So, as we move forward in this debate over the next several months, the next year and a half, I would call on members of Congress to think about all the talent that is already in this country, that is already working in many cases, is already making contributions. In some cases are joining up in our military, or are already starting businesses, are already attending school. And let's be true to our tradition as a nation of immigrants and as a nation of laws. My strong preference is going to be to pass comprehensive immigration reform. And I know that there are Republicans out there who want to pass comprehensive immigration reform. In the Senate, they've shown that they are prepared to do the right thing. And rather than continue trying to go back to a system that everybody acknowledges was broken, let's move forward with the incredible promise that these young people represent. Last point I'll make. There have been suggestions that we will not fund the Department of Homeland Security, which is responsible for patrolling our borders as well as keeping our air travel safe, as well as patrolling our coasts. There's been talk about not funding that department because of the disagreement around immigration reform. There's no logic to that position, particularly for Republicans who claim that they are interested in strong border security. Why would you cut off your nose to spite your face by defunding the very operations that are involved in making sure that we've got strong border security? particularly at a time when we've got real concerns about countering terrorism. So my strong suggestion would be that Congress go ahead, fund Department of Homeland Security. We're doing a tremendous amount of work at the borders. The concerns that people had about unaccompanied children, tragically traveling from Central America, that spike has now diminished. We are below the levels that we were 2 years ago. We are working diligently with the Central American countries to make sure that young people there have hope and that their parents are getting a clear message of not sending them on this extraordinarily dangerous journey. Let's make sure the Department of Homeland Security is properly funded. We're doing the right things at the borders. We're doing the right things with respect to our airports. And then let's get back to first principles and remind ourselves that each of these young people here are going to be doing incredible things on behalf of this country. And to all the dreamers who are out there and all those who qualify for my executive action moving forward, I want you to know that I am confident in my ability to implement this program over the next 2 years, and I'm confident that the next president and the next Congress and the American people will ultimately recognize why this is the right thing to do. So I'm going to want all of you to get information so you can sign up if you qualify as well. All right? Thank you very much, everybody, and thank you guys for sharing your incredible stories.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Hey, I'm John Leguizamo, and I love New York. Why? I'll tell you why, because every winter my favorite thing to do is ski upstate. In New York, you can ski more and drive less. With over 50 ski resorts throughout the state, great skiing is always nearby. And with some of the highest snowfall in the U.S., it's always a perfect day on the slopes. Day or night, green circle or black diamond, for the experts like me, there's something for everyone. So plan your next New York ski trip at iloveny.com/winter.
I now pronounce you husband and wife.
It's just been amazing. This morning I saw a proposal, this afternoon a wedding. It's just been absolutely amazing. Only in America.
This was absolutely surreal to be right here in the middle of Times Square, to see all the energy and excitement. Some of us knew the bride and the groom, and then so many bystanders came, and they were great, and they were pleasant, they were cheering, and you just felt the warmth and the energy at Times Square.
It's a little cold. I'm not gonna lie, it's a little cold, but it's amazing to be here, and it's a perfect day to celebrate love because it's Valentine's Day.
People always laughing, smiling, great people always greeting you, and it's beautiful. Times Square is one of a kind.
Hi, Jimmy. Happy Valentine's Day from New York. I miss you so much. Bye.
We really have the cultural mix that is what Times Square and the crossroads of the world are all about. We had a same-sex marriage today. We had a woman proposing to a man, and we have couples from all over the world. And as we dealt with them, preparing for tonight's vow renewal ceremony, we had people talking and emailing to us in multiple languages. It's really the melting pot of the world. It's really the center of the universe. It's everybody's home. And we always like to say here at the Times Square Alliance that Times Square is really the world's town square.
To love and to cherish until death do you part.
I do!
All right.
A lot of people say that Times Square is the center of the universe, and now my wife and my family are the center of my universe, so it just made sense to have the two universes collide.
Where else than Times Square? Times Square has been the best. I mean, everybody knows Times Square. None of our friends and family would be able to say they got married in Times Square, and we got married in Times Square.
This is the city that never sleeps. The city's so nice, you had to name it twice.
And Times Square is the heart of New York.
This
is all part of a contest that the Times Square Alliance put together, and I knew that this would be the grand prize, but I had no idea that we'd be the recipients. So this is a wonderful extra added bonus.
I don't believe it.
Welcome, congratulations.
We love Times Square, and this is why we had to come renew our vows here. This is one of the favorite places in the whole wide world.
So for our third annual vow renewal, we reached out to the world and said, what better place than to renew your vow? We have people from not only New York and the tri-state area, we've got people from all over the country, and we've got couples from all over the world. We have one couple that's been married just a few weeks. We have other couples that have been married 20, 30, 40 plus years.
Did you know that as of January 2015, it is illegal to throw away electronics? Electronics covered under the New York state law include household and office electronics, as well as entertainment and smaller electronics. New Yorkers have many free and convenient options to recycle working and non-working electronics, such as eCycle NYC, free drop-off at retail outlets across the city, community recycling events, and free mail-back recycling programs. Learn more at nyc.gov/electronics.
Thank you for watching Meetings with Our Community. We hope that you have enjoyed our show, and we hope to see you next week.